Welcome to Have It All. I'm Binie Klein, life and leadership coach and speaker, and I help ambitious people create successful careers and lives they actually enjoy. This is the podcast where we talk about it all: career, business, leadership, life, relationships, and what it actually takes to build a successful career and a life you love at the same time without burning out. Let's get into it. Hi, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about what's actually blocking you from your next level. Because what I know about you is that there is a next level for you. This could be in your career, your business, your health, your relationships. And I know that to be true because everyone has a next level. No matter how great you are at what you do, no matter how great your life is, there's better. There's better for everyone. And if you're ambitious like myself and many of the people that I work with, you might already know what that better is. Maybe it's something really specific, like maybe you want to start a podcast. Maybe you want to go for a specific promotion. Maybe you want to improve something specific in your marriage or your health. Or maybe it's just generally you're thinking, I really want to up level. I want to switch jobs. I want to start a business or grow my business. Whatever it is, you have a next level that's waiting for you. And sometimes when you're working really hard to achieve a goal or to grow and it's not happening, you start to think, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe it's not my time. Maybe I'm lazy. But the truth is that it's probably not any of those things. You probably are very capable. From coaching hundreds of people and in my own experience over the last decade, today I want to share with you a couple of reasons why you might be blocked from your next level and what you can do differently starting today so that you can have the success that you want. The first thing that might be happening is you might be experiencing a lack of clarity. So many of us are more focused and clear on what we don't want and what isn't working well in our lives than what we do want. And here's the problem with that. When you are so focused on, I hate my job, or my relationship sucks, my husband never goes out of his way for me, I don't feel good in my body. The first problem with that is you're constantly going to notice all of the times where that negative thing is happening. So for example, if you go research a very specific high chair or a stroller or go to a car dealership to check out a specific car, you're going to end up seeing that high chair, that stroller, or that car everywhere because what you focus on and what you think about, you see. So if you're busy focused on, I hate my job, anytime something happens, a coworker or your boss says something that you don't like, you don't get the raise that you want, there's tons of traffic on your way home, you're going to continue to think, see, I know I hate my job. The second problem with being more focused on what you don't want than what you do want is life moves fast. So if you are vague and you're not exactly sure with what you want to change and how you want to change it, life keeps moving, you stay busy, and that change doesn't end up happening. I can't tell you how many times I get on a consult call. And a consult call is simply when somebody is interested in coaching and they reach out to me and we schedule a time to chat. And that's where they tell me more about their goals and what they want to improve in their life and their business. And we talk about how I might be able to help them do that in coaching. I cannot tell you how many times I get on a call like that and somebody tells me, I really want to work on my business and I really don't like my career. And then I ask them, okay, well, what do you want your career or your business to look like? What do you want to change? And they tell me, that's a really good question. I never actually thought about that. And the problem with that is when you're not thinking about it, you're not creating it. And when I ask, what would it look like to make those changes? What would a 10 out of 10 in your business look like? What would a 10 out of 10 in your health look like? That is sometimes the first time the person that I'm talking to is thinking about it. So it makes total sense why that change didn't happen because change doesn't magically happen. We need to know what we want and know what's getting in the way of that change to actually be able to make it. Recently, I was talking to a senior executive at a company and she told me, I really don't like the way that I'm communicating with my team. I feel like I want to work on my leadership skills and my communication skills. So I said, great. I said, what do you want to change? What do you want your communication to look and feel like? And she said, I actually never considered that. And then she said, oh, okay, now it makes sense why I've had this idea swirling around in my head for a while and I haven't made progress. It's not that I'm dumb or incapable. I'm not really sure what I want. And then from our discussion, she mentioned, oh, when I'm irritated at my team and I talk a little bit aggressively, it teaches my team that that's okay. And then when they go out and talk to their teams, they do the same. And it doesn't create a great environment for our office. And I don't think people really want to work for our organization when there's a lot of passive aggressiveness and not such great speaking within the team. So based on that, we were able to make a plan of what she actually wants to change within our communication and why it's been difficult until now so that we can actually make those changes. So when you are really clear about what you want, what exactly you want to change, what a 10 out of 10 would look like for you in that specific area, it is going to be easier for you to follow through. Now, number 2 is avoiding discomfort. Now, this is a really sneaky one because a lot of times when we're not achieving something or we're not going after a dream or a goal or a next level, we tell ourselves it's because we don't have time or it's because something just isn't working or we're not cut out for it. But the truth is there's something deeper going on. And let me share a story with you. Back when I started coaching, I was coaching for a little bit. I loved coaching and I loved what I was doing and I loved helping people. But I loved helping people. And somebody asked me to give a talk. And when I gave that talk, I don't know if you've ever had this feeling before, but you do something and you're like, oh my God, I meant to do this. That's how I felt when I spoke. I love working with people one-on-one and helping them in their lives and their businesses and all areas. But there's something about going into a room and speaking and impacting many people at once that felt incredible. So I spoke once and I thought, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I want to do more of this. How am I going to do it? Who would trust Binie Klein as a speaker? So I thought, instead of just reaching out to random people on the internet, why would they trust me? I don't have a speaking reputation. Let me think about people that I know. So I thought about it and I realized I know somebody who's a key decision maker at a mid-sized company. Maybe he would want to bring me in to speak to his team. So I had the idea. I knew exactly who I was going to reach out to. I had a half-baked thought of what the email would say. And I didn't send the email. And a week passed, and a month passed, and another month, and one more month, and I still didn't send the email. And during that time, I kept asking myself, Binie, why are you not sending the email? And at first, I kept telling myself, time, I'm so busy. My workday is so short, my kids, and then there was a holiday, and then there was summer, and there was always a reason to not do that task. But after a while, I sat down and I asked myself, what is really going on here? Why am I not sending the email? And beneath the excuses and beneath the time, I uncovered the real reason. Deep down, I had this thought that if I put myself out there and I send the email, something bad might happen. What do I mean? I might send the email and he might not respond, and then I'm going to feel really uncomfortable. Or he might respond and say, no, thank you, we're not interested. And then I'm going to feel really disappointed. And I might bump into him. I didn't know him that well. I had met him once before, but I might bump into him at another event and I'm just going to feel really awkward and embarrassed. Like, who are you to think that you could go into a corporation and speak when you don't have any of that type of experience? But then even worse than that, what if I sent the email? What if he said yes? I went in and I totally flopped. And then I would feel like such a failure and I would feel so stupid. Who was I to think that I could go into a corporation and give a talk? And so because I had all these fears of failing, of feeling disappointed, I ended up avoiding the task altogether. But it was disguised as a lack of time. Now, here's what I did once I realized all of this. I thought, you know what? Putting myself out there to become a speaker feels hard and uncomfortable. But having a dream to become a speaker and not taking any action on it also feels hard and uncomfortable. And what I realized is that if both feel hard, I would rather choose the hard that gets me closer to my dreams. And that's what got me to send the email. And I realized that the same thing applies everywhere. If you have a dream to be healthier, to be more fit, to lose some weight, doing the things to get there are hard. Waking up early to go to the gym is hard. Being intentional with what you eat is hard. But you know what's also hard? Not going to the gym and not doing all of those things and not feeling good in your body. Doing the things to improve your marriage, whether it's taking responsibility for your side of the street, having vulnerable, intentional conversations, compromising, that all feels hard. But you know what else also feels hard? Not having the marriage or the relationship that you want. So if both feel hard, going after your goal and not going after your goal, wouldn't you choose the hard that brings you closer to the thing that you want? So again, a lot of times we're not going after what we want or reaching our goal because deep down we feel uncomfortable. And that makes total sense because our brains want us to be comfortable and to stay safe and not go after an incredible life. But deep down, we want more for ourselves. So the way to go about this is to notice, what am I really scared of here? Uncover those deep, dark fears. Notice that on the other side, staying where you are right now also doesn't feel great. And here's another really good tip. The more clear you are about how something benefits you, the more likely you are to do it. Because like we said, doing new things, doing hard things, it takes effort. It takes energy. Why would you go out and do hard things and push yourself if you could just stay stuck, stay the same, stay comfortable? But you're more likely to go after those things when you know how it will change your life. And here's an example of that. I'll give you a personal example. I'll give you a client example. Personal example is making dinner. I think about, why do I make dinner every single day for my family? Because even though it takes time and it takes effort, it's because I want my family to have a home-cooked dinner. So every single day, I make sure that there's something home-cooked for my kids, even though it takes effort, because the impact of my children having a home-cooked dinner feels great to me. And I was recently talking to a client, and she told me that she, in our time together, she established a business and she was doing really well. And now she has this new business idea. She wants to start a real estate business and get together some money and buy homes. And she has this beautiful plan. But she's had this plan for a little while and she noticed that she hasn't been taking action on it and asking people if they want to contribute. We spoke about it. She told me all the reasons why she's nervous and she's uncomfortable to put herself out there as this professional in real estate. And it made total sense. But then I asked her, on the other side, why do you really care to start this real estate business? And so she said, well, I want to make money. And then I pushed her deeper. I said, deeper than the money. Why is this really important to you? Why do you really want money? Because the deeper you go, the more likely you are to follow through. And when I asked her that question, she was like, oh, well, if I make money, then I don't have to worry about paying the bills. And I could take my children on incredible vacations and give them all the things that they really want. And I don't have to worry when my kids get older and they want to go to sleepaway camp and I want to make them beautiful parties or bar bat mitzvahs. I'll be able to do all those things for them if I have this money. And she told me about all the causes that she's passionate about. And she said, if I have more money, I can contribute and make the world a better place. And as she said all this, I didn't even say anything. She was like, oh my God, Binie, let's go. I'm ready. What's my plan? I want to take action and make this real estate business. So when you are really clear on what your goal is, why not taking action on it also feels kind of sucky, and how this goal will really change your life, it'll be so much easier for you to move forward. And the last point that I think about is when you are doing big things and going after your goals, it feels uncomfortable, but that means that you're growing. Like I notice when I don't have those butterflies or those fears for a long time, it means that I'm not pushing myself. It means that I'm not growing or expanding. The more I feel those butterflies and those fears, I'm like, oh my God, good. Okay, this means that I'm evolving into a bit bigger, better version of myself. Exercise for me is another really great example of this. Anytime I've been struggling with exercise and getting back into consistency, it's because my brain's telling me like, oh my God, this is hard. You don't have time for this. You're so busy. Is it even making a difference? Like maybe when I'm postpartum and it feels like nothing that I'm doing is actually working. What I always bring myself back to is the impact. And I remind myself like, how does exercise actually benefit me? And I get so specific. I think about how it makes me feel more energetic. And when I'm energetic, I have better creative ideas and my business benefits. And I'm more focused for my clients. And I have more energy for my kids. And I'm more patient. And I'm more optimistic. And I'm in a better mood. And then I have better quality time with my husband. Like I can literally go so specific. And thinking about that really clearly helps me tip the scale and actually do it. Now, number 3 is waiting to feel ready. So many times we think that there's going to be a magic time to go after our goals. And there's going to be a certain time when we feel ready, and that's going to be the time to launch the podcast, to launch the business, to start exercising. But guess what? There never is a magic time. And also, taking action is what gets you ready and not the other way around. And I'll share a story. My client, who was a financial advisor, a wealth manager, she had incredible clients and managed a big book of business. And one time we were talking and she tells me, I really want to bring in some new clients. So we started discussing it and discussing her plan and what exactly she wanted to do. And she told me, okay, I feel comfortable bringing in clients at this level, but over 5 million, I don't think I'm ready for that. So I asked her, what would make you feel ready? What's in between you and being ready? And she said, I'm not really sure. And then when we thought about it, we realized that currently in her book of business, she didn't bring in the clients, but she's servicing clients who have $5 million and above. And what we realized was she was ready. She was just nervous about putting herself out there. And I remember the first time I coached a C-suite executive. So this woman came to me and she's like, Binie, I see what you're doing over here. You work with X and Y people. They say amazing things about you. Can you help me in my leadership skills? Can you help me with my work and a little bit my life? And I said, sure, I'd be happy to help you. And then when I hung up the phone, I was like, Binie, what are you doing? How did you just say yes to that opportunity? She is so much older than you, so much smarter than you. She has so much more money than you. Are you sure you could actually help her? And what I realized is, of course I was scared. Anytime we do something new, it feels scary. But I actually was ready to help her because even though she was maybe older and smarter and had more work experience than me, I had something that she didn't have, which was coaching skills, leadership skills, the frameworks that I had, holding space for her. And I was so glad that I said yes to that opportunity and didn't say I wasn't ready yet, because that put me on an entirely different path. And then she introduced me to somebody else, and it was a beautiful spiral from there. But so often we think we're just not ready, we have to wait. But the truth is that confidence comes from action and not the other way around. And something that I do that has worked really well for me in my life and my business is that I tend to say yes first and figure it out after. Now, of course, this is only in things that I'm qualified to do. I wouldn't say yes to a speaking opportunity to talk about the advancement of medicine in America. But I can't tell you how many times I've been approached, and let's just say a company approaches me and says, hey, we have a team who travels 300 days of the year. Can you give a talk or a workshop on wellness strategies for this team and leadership strategies for them? And my first thought is like, well, I've never worked with this type of people. I've never worked with this industry before. Can I really do it? But I always say yes first and then figure it out after. From when I say yes until I deliver the workshop or the talk, I have enough time to go out and prepare. So don't wait to feel ready. Say yes now and you're going to figure it out. I think about my client recently who wanted to go for an opportunity at work. Well, actually, she at first didn't want to. So when we were talking, she mentioned to me, she said, by the way, Binie, there's an opening for a new position, for promotion essentially for me, but I don't think I'm going to go for it. I don't think I'm ready. So I said, what do you mean? Do you want to explore that? And she said, sure. And what we realized through our few minutes together was that she was actually doing a lot of the work that this new position would be doing. But she felt like that title was such a jump for her and she probably wouldn't get it anyway. And would she really feel capable of all that responsibility? Now, again, she already has that responsibility unofficially right now, but the official responsibility for her felt really big. And so we talked about it. What would it mean for her to be ready? And is she not ready right now? Is she truly ready? And through our time, she realized, 1 second, I actually really do want this. And we talked about the impact, what it would look like for her to have this new position and the pay increased and the impact and the fulfillment that she would have stepping into this new role. And even though it's scary to put yourself out there. It's scary to have more responsibility. She actually told me, I think I want this. And I just got an email from her this morning where she said, Dear Binie, I put myself out there for the opportunity. I went for the interview. Whether I get the job or not, I'm so proud of myself that I went for it. And thank you so much for your help. So none of us ever feel ready. The difference between being ready and not is simply putting yourself out there and going for it. Number 4 is belief. Belief changes behavior. There's a saying that goes that if 2 people are stuck in a locked room, the person more likely to get out is the person who believes he's going to get out because he's the one who tries the door handle most often. And I think about this a lot because sometimes we have a goal, we have a next level that we're working towards, but we have all of these fears and all of these doubts, and either we don't end up taking any action because of it, or we are, but we're doing it half-heartedly. We're like the person who's like trying the door handle, but not really trying it and then giving up right away and saying, see, I told you it wasn't going to work. I remember when I started coaching. So when I knew I wanted to become a life coach, I thought, okay, I'm going to go all in. So I got an amazing coaching certification, spent a lot of money on that. I started working with a coach. I made a website. I made a social media account. I did all the things. And growth was very slow at first. And of course, I was frustrated and down and thought, what's going wrong? Did I maybe choose the wrong industry? I didn't have full doubts like I want to quit, but I remember thinking like, what's going wrong? I feel like I'm doing all the things. And if you're here trying something and thinking that you're doing all the things, you probably know that feeling where it feels heavy and you feel frustrated. And then when I was talking to my coach at the time, what I realized is yes, I was taking action. But what was the action laced with and fueled with? Some not such great thinking. And here's what I was thinking. I was thinking in my head, not saying this out loud to anybody, but I was thinking, nobody really wants life coaching. Nobody really even knows what life coaching is. People really want therapy. And who really wants to work with me because I'm so young? And people think that life coaching is giving advice, which by the way, it's not, but that's what people think. And then if it's advice, why would somebody trust me? I look so young. I don't have life experience. So of course, with all of these beliefs, building my business and telling people about what I did felt very heavy. So even though I was going through the motions, I wasn't very energetic. I wasn't very confident. When people asked me about my new business, I would often change the subject because the whole thing felt heavy and uncomfortable. Now, it wasn't until I was able to shift those beliefs and start realizing, one second, there are people who want life coaching. There are people actively searching for a life coach right now. And even if they're not actively searching for one, what they want is actually life coaching. They don't even know it yet. And yes, I'm young, but for my ideal clients, women in their 20s and 30s who are in the beginning stages of their lives and their careers, I'm actually the perfect person because I get it and I'm relatable. And I'm not telling them that I have it all figured out. I have tools to help them. Once I was able to shift that belief changes behavior. My behaviors changed and my business picked up. So noticing what's going on, what am I thinking and feeling that might not be helping me is the best thing to start with. Now, sometimes the thought could be true, but just not helpful. Like you might be thinking, I've tried to exercise before. I tried to start a business before and it hasn't worked. Yes, completely true. You might have all the proof that you've done it before. But just because the thought is true doesn't mean it's helpful. And you could redirect your brain to think something else and make it work. And I'm not saying to tell yourself, I'm a multimillionaire and I'm absolutely going to succeed. Don't try to believe things that don't feel true. But instead of thinking, I've tried this before and it hasn't worked, you might think, I can try again. I've done hard things before. I know other people who have succeeded at this. There is a demand for this. Find thoughts that feel true that you can use to shift your behavior. And the final piece here is overthinking. I think as ambitious people, we really want to think everything through and be 100% certain that our plan's going to work out before we do something. And the truth is that we never can be 100% certain. And especially in today's world, when things move so fast, it is important to just take action and figure it out later. I think about starting this podcast. I was talking to my business coach about the podcast because I had the idea to do this podcast for a while. And I was pregnant and then I had a new baby and it just wasn't the time to devote to this. And then recently I was feeling the pull, like I really want to explore it now. So I spoke to her about it and I discussed the name with her and what my angle was going to be. And our conversation finished. And a couple weeks later, I put out my first episode, which was last week. And she sent me a message and she was like, oh my God, how did you get this out so soon? That was just a couple weeks ago that we spoke about it. And I was like, well, what do you mean? We spoke about it. So I booked a studio. I came up with what I wanted to talk about on the first episode. I made this beautiful cover, and that was it. I didn't have any more information than that. And she was like, oh my God, most people are not like that. And when she said that, I was like, you're right. I think a lot of people would overthink and try to research everything and do it perfect. Now, I'm not saying me jumping headfirst into things has never had downsides, but it has so many upsides. I went in, I did the podcast, and then after I left, I was like, okay, I'm going to figure it out now. If so many other people have podcasts and figure out how to get the podcast from recording to being online, I can figure it out as well. And so I went home and I did the quick research, especially with AI, ChatGPT, Claude. It is so easy to figure things out. And that was it. I uploaded it to Spotify, to YouTube, Apple Podcasts. I created short episode clips, shorts, and that was it. And the podcast is out and it's live and it's going amazing. So catch yourself where you're overthinking, where you're either overcomplicating something or waiting for it to all be perfect and figure it out. If you take action first, you will figure it out and you will get to your next level so much faster. So to wrap this all up, if you are actively working towards something, a specific goal, or just your next level, you want to level up in your career, in your business, and you're like, why is this not happening? I promise you, you are capable. You can make this happen. You're not lazy. It just might be one of these things. You might have a lack of clarity on what's your goal, on why you're not there yet, and what those exact steps are, which you can go and figure out right now. You might be avoiding some discomfort, which you might be telling yourself that it's because of time. And if you remember last episode, time is like a suitcase. You can move things around and fit things in if it's important to you. So don't tell yourself that you're not doing something because of time. Figure out what's going on underneath. Why does this feel extra heavy? What am I trying to avoid? And when you remember that both are hard, moving forward and staying the same, you'll choose the hard of moving forward. Then waiting to feel ready. You're telling yourself that even though you have a next level available to you, it's not the time. Guess what? You can make it the time right now. Number 4 is belief. You might be thinking this can't work, or you might have thoughts that you're not even realizing that are getting in your way. Make sure to work through those now. And lastly, you might be overthinking. So let this be your sign. Your next level is waiting for you. Take action now. Move through those steps now. You got this. I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to Have It All. If you love the show, share this episode with a friend, subscribe to the show, or leave a review. And if you're ready for your next level in your career, business, leadership, or life, or you want to inspire your team, you can connect with me using the links below. I'll see you next time.